Eric.
And I'm Noah, and you're listening to A Bite of...
where we take our current favorite pop culture obsession and enjoy it one nibble at a time.
Whee!
Woohoo!
Okay, we're back. It's been like a week. It's a long time.
We went from August to September. It was a lot was happening.
We went to fall.
We've been drinking pumpkin spice things. We're riding high on the caffeine train right now. Toot toot.
So today we thought it would be fun. You know how, we said we were going to do different types of episodes? This one's different.
Yeah.
Quite different.
We're growing, we're changing, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's just a natural thing in life.
So the nature of our podcast, we used to do seasons where it was just that thing. That's all what we would talk about. Then we branched away from seasons and we're doing interpretive dancing.
Just feeling what you're saying.
And now we thought, because we still don't cover everything that we watch and love because we're covering other things, we thought it'd be fun to talk about the things that we missed, the movies and TV shows that we missed.
Yeah, and we wanted to share what we thought about these things because we enjoyed a lot of other things other than, Secret Invasion.
Hey, I like how that's the one that you call out.
Well, no, we did Heartstopper, which we love, obviously.
I thought you were going to throw that in that category.
No.
Yeah, we've covered quite a bit. And, Last of Us, oh my God.
Ghosted.
Well, you can't keep adding the ones where we gave like 1 star.
Why not? That's what we covered.
Yeah.
It was entertaining, I hope.
So normally when we first thought about this idea, we were going to also throw in like maybe video games and like books. But because somebody is on the Stonewall Award Committee, he can't talk about any of the books that he's reading.
It's a secret. You'll know in January of next year.
Yeah, it's 2 years that he can't talk about any of the books, so that's fun. But we're also swimming in gay books.
So many gay books. LGBTQIA+.
Yeah.
Literally all of them.
Yeah.
It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it is great. And I get to read the ones that I want to read.
Exactly.
So we're going to talk about the movies and shows that we enjoyed. It's not going to be, the best of the best because maybe we didn't watch it or maybe we didn't like it.
Hey, listen, we're allowed to not like things.
Yeah. But these are the ones that we both very much enjoyed. And then we have separately personal picks, ones that, Derek didn't watch, but I did and I love, or vice versa.
Vice versa.
Yeah. Have to preface all this because we're talking about movies and TV, SAG, writer strike still going on. There's so much that just keeps developing with it that I hate all of those greedy ghoul executives. It's just insane. They're like, we're gonna fight hard for this. It's like you could have stopped it that day.
Yeah,
like
they're just playing games at this point.
It's insane. So down below in the show notes, if you're watching this on YouTube, whenever this does release to the public on YouTube, it's also down there. So information, donation, all that great stuff. But, should we get into it?
Yeah. We don't want to do any of the...
Fine. Give us some stars.
There you go. That's it. Okay.
Subscribe. We have a Patreon where this video is released first. And, that's where we're at.
Cool. All right, very good. So let us officially take a bite of the things we missed in 2023.
So far.
And heavy spoiler alerts in case you didn't see any of these things. I'm sure we'll be giving away major plot points and things.
Yeah. Major plot points, but, we have quite a few things to cover.
So buckle up, folks. It's a 3-hour show of a bite of.
Oh my God. I don't think I could do that.
I don't think so either. We'd melt in this room anyway.
There are some podcasts that can do like 4 hours on a single 30-minute episode. And I'm like,
No, we have a very good track record of like, if we're covering a 30-minute episode, our episodes are 30 minutes. And then if it's an hour, it's an hour.
Yeah.
So I don't know what this is going to be because we have like 6 or 8 properties that we're going to be talking about.
Should we just time ourselves at each one? We only have 2 minutes to talk about.
That's it. It's an 18-minute episode. That's it. All right, ready and go. First things first is we're going to be talking about the movie Theater Camp
Ugh.
that came out in July of this year.
Yep.
Now, as I've said in the past on the podcast, I was a theater minor in college and was a theater kid growing up my entire life.
Yeah.
So this was like watching my friends and I on screen.
So knowing your friend group and then watching this movie, I was like, oh, this is you guys. It's
Yes.
so funny to see that because I wasn't in theater at all. I had friends that were in it, and my mom did a lot of theater stuff in school, so I was around it and I got the references. But knowing you guys, I'm like, this is what shaped you.
Absolutely. And so we never went to theater camp, but what we did was that we were in shows throughout our entire elementary school career. And then when we got into our later years of high school and in college, we went back to our elementary
Right.
school and we helped run those shows. And so,
So
just
sweet.
just seeing how these characters talk to the kids and how seriously they take it, it definitely felt like a reflection and laughing at it because, we're like, they're not hitting the choreo. And meanwhile, they're like 10 years old. We're like box step, grapevine, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's when you're in it, it's very serious. And that's what this felt like. I mean, so with theater camp, there's our sort of two main characters here.
Right.
Amos and Rebecca Diane, which is the best theater name that has ever existed. And they work at this theater camp every summer. They've been going their entire lives.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Joan, the leader of this camp, who's played by Amy Sedaris, which was, the perfect way to open this movie.
I honestly didn't realize she was in it
I didn't know either.
at all until she was in it. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
Like,
Unfortunately, if you are an Amy Sedaris fan, the
Yeah.
whole thing is that the character ends up having a medical emergency and is in a coma. So her like TikTok star son is trying to run the camp. He has no idea what he's doing. And then all of the theater people are there also trying to run it, putting on the shows.
I call those types of people brofluencers.
Brofluencers,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Yeah, because that's how he is. This movie is really good because it's a mockumentary style movie. And when they get those right, they're great. And I think we actually have one other mockumentary on this list,
Mhm.
funny enough. But it was so funny because you have these adults talking to these actual kid actors and kids in the movie just however they want. They're just like flat out telling them like, you suck.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny to see it's like, oh, I would expect that them talking like that to adults, but I guess maybe they do talk to kids like that.
Well, listen, if you're trying to get a kid to find the emotional core of the
Right.
45-year-old woman that they're playing, you have to be
It's
telling
so
them what they
insane.
need to do.
My favorite part of this movie is when the two main characters, it's the first day of camp and they're going to announce that year's play. Either it's a musical or whatever, or it's a straight play. And they like go through some of the other plays that they've done.
Mm.
It's like the longest introduction ever. And it's so, so funny. Ben Platt was actually really funny in this. We won't talk about Dear Evan Hansen, but
That was a misstep.
this one, fantastic.
Yes. And what I love is that Molly Gordon, who plays Rebecca Diane, not only did she write it, but she also directed it.
Yeah.
And so I love seeing her have literally those three roles and making this come to life. And as a pair, they played really well off of each other.
Yeah.
And throughout the film, we actually see them as children performing together.
It's so sweet.
It's so sweet. So they actually have that connection and grew up together.
Right.
So you could see when people are friends in real life and are having fun, you could see that on screen, and you see that in theater camp.
Yeah, I loved all of the instructors and the different personalities that they had. But, like the dance instructor, the person that does the costumes. And it's just, you see these little vignettes of them and what their classes or their instructions are like. They're just it's so funny. It's so quick. The movie's a crisp, like 90-ish minutes.
It's perfect.
And it's so quick. It's so funny. And I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of bummed that it didn't get like a super wide release. Like when we went to go see it, I believe it was on the weekend, right?
It was a Sunday morning or
Yeah.
Saturday morning.
And we were the only people in the theaters. Literally, there was two other people that came in, but they worked at the movie theater
Right.
and they were doing their 15 and they like came and sat in the theater and then got out. But that part I was like, oh, this movie's actually good. Like people should see this. I'm hoping whenever it's like on video on demand or like a wider release where people can see it, more people do. It's going to be a cult classic, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It definitely has that like Drop Dead Gorgeous feeling to it.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I love about this is that I feel like we haven't had comedies recently.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like everything is a dramedy or it's action or whatever, like a
Right.
completely different thing. This is a comedy, which I've been missing. Like, you know, we had
Good comedy.
good comedy, right? We
Right.
had like Bridesmaids, we had
Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Sisters, we had, you know, we had those types of films, but we haven't had that in a really long time, especially in theaters. So it was nice seeing something that literally made me laugh out loud.
Yeah, I think the only other movie this year or in recent memory, I could obviously be wrong, there's so much. No Hard Feelings was really a good Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, yes.
We just watched it.
We just watched it.
That one was a good comedy because it was absurd, right? And it's just
Yes.
like those movies where they go real out of their way
It was
to
kind
just
of
amp it up.
Yeah, it was like a raunchy comedy
Yeah.
in a way. We're not talking about it today, but No Hard Feelings, full frontal Jennifer Lawrence on the beach beating the shit out of people.
But that was one of the greatest scenes I've seen in a movie in a long time. This isn't on our list because we try to get things that were a little more in the year, not super, super recent, but that movie, you should watch it. Like it's not like super bad level of like raunchiness or whatever, but this is like, I feel like more adulty
Yes.
raunchiness. But seeing Jennifer Lawrence just fully nude, like suplexing people on the beach,
There's that Katniss training.
the whole time,
Survival.
I was like, is she? She is.
Yes.
Okay.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy smokes. But anyway, there's no naked people in theater camp,
No.
as far as I can remember. And there's just funny things throughout it. There's the main storyline between Amos and Rebecca Diane, but we also have Ayo Edebiri in this
Yes.
kind of like 2023 breakout star.
She's not in it enough.
Agreed. She's very much a minor character. She's someone who lied on her resume, who has absolutely no idea what she's doing at this theater camp.
I love that on her resume, she put literally like she's proficient or expert on everything. And so when they're like asking her, can you do this? She's like, yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
And then they're like, okay, I'm here to teach you
Stage
stage combat. So what is that to you?
She's asking the
Yeah,
kids to
and they're
tell her.
like, huh?
Yeah. It's so good. I feel like maybe this was filmed like right before she got like super big. So it was one of those things where she should have probably been in it more, but I'm glad that she got the time she did.
Now she's Emmy nominated.
Yeah,
So
of course.
big time, baby.
The Bear.
The Bear.
Oh,
Yeah, she's fantastic in The
so
Bear.
good.
Yeah.
Highly recommend this movie.
I highly
It's
recommend
fun.
it too. I actually can't wait to watch it again. It just made my heart so happy. It was so ridiculous, but very it had its little heartfelt moments throughout
Yeah,
it.
of course. Also, great singing. Even
Very
when it's
true.
ridiculous what they're
Yes.
singing about.
I mean, they're
Fantastic.
obviously incredibly talented.
Well, we saw literal videos of them as children
Yeah.
performing. They've been preparing this for their whole life.
100%.
All right. So, next thing that we missed, and I feel like this is kind of a bigger one for our podcast because when we started this, really the only things that were getting released were Marvel things, especially during the pandemic. And so we covered a lot of that stuff. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, we didn't cover just because stuff was happening and we missed it in theaters. Surprise. But we finally watched it. And I got to say, fantastic. That I think it was really good as like a send off or like a complete trilogy for these characters and James Gunn. It was more heartfelt and emotional than I would have even remotely thought a Guardians of the Galaxy movie would be because of what we got before. It was, it's so good. So good.
Yes, I really enjoyed it. I think when it ended, what I said to Noah was, well, that was disturbing.
Yeah.
So I do want to give a little bit of a trigger warning for
Yeah.
people watching this. I am an animal lover. So if you are sensitive to animal testing, animal cruelty, animal death, this has all three of those things.
Right.
Those scenes were very hard for me to watch because the characters were so well done, so beautiful, so sweet.
The voice work was
Yes,
phenomenal.
it really punched me in the gut.
Right.
And which it's supposed to do because we have Rocket, who is tough, who's no nonsense, but we're learning where he came from.
Yeah.
And he was this beautiful little creature,
So tiny.
so tiny, but that was exploited and saw the evils of the world. And that was a little hard for me to take.
Right.
But overall, the movie's fantastic. I have to admit, Noah and I watched Midsommar for the first time this summer. I found this more disturbing than Midsommar.
To be fair, you did watch the director's cut, so there was a lot more like extended scenes of crying and walking. So like, it's a little different, but I do agree. Like, I like Midsommar for the atmosphere and like what
Beautiful.
it is.
Yeah.
Beautiful movie. This one was much more disturbing. And I think it's so interesting to think about how, we can get so attached to these like CGI characters. But I think it goes to show the writing and like the situations and everything. It's just so good. I mean, the High Evolutionary, the worst villain the MCU has ever had. Tops Thanos for me. There's nobody, he's the worst. Absolute worst.
He's like pure evil.
Pure evil.
What he's doing, like Thanos is complicated because he was evil, but he was doing it for what he felt was the greater good.
Yeah.
The High Evolutionary is just like
Playing
a
God.
sociopath. He's just like a megalomaniac.
Yeah. It's awful.
Yeah. And so what he wants is just to basically destroy. He has no soul.
He wants to create
But-
the perfect being.
But if it's not perfect,
Right.
then he destroys it. And
Right.
he has no qualms
No.
of doing that.
Of course not.
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of scenes in it where very upsetting, especially with our furry little friends and where those stories end. It was quite upsetting. But the cast as a whole and the movie as a whole, everybody got their moment to shine. People got the send-offs that they deserved. And I'm curious to see where it goes. James Gunn is no longer doing it. Supposedly, he's now head of creative with DC. So whoever takes up Guardians of the Galaxy, I feel like is going to have quite a job on their hands.
Well, it's interesting, right? So at the end of this movie, it sets up a new set
Right.
of Guardians because our old Guardians have now gone off to do
Most
what
of
they
them.
needed to do, right? So Mantis has gone off with her giant beasties. And
Perfect.
And I mean, just everyone. Peter has gone back to Earth, and so everybody's just kind of in their own little pockets.
Right.
But now Rocket is leading the new
Which
Guardians.
is so funny because I feel like the whole thing with the movie and like before you saw it, everybody was like, Rocket's gonna die, and it's like, well, no, he didn't. Almost didn't, but now he's just a leader of which is nice. I feel like Bradley Cooper is like really the only character that can keep doing the character because it's just the voice.
Right, you're right. Very
Like
good
you don't
point.
have to see him.
Right.
So it's,
Right.
It's just the voice. But I like the new team. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm hoping Marvel does this thing where it's like they have like cosmic stuff and they have like street level stuff. They have Avengers stuff. So like kind of separating it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we're getting a lot of characters and a lot more stuff. But I want to say this movie is like really high on my list for Marvel movies. It's just really good. It's really good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
100%. It's really good. It has all that stuff that Marvel does so well when it's really, knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
It has all the action. It has the clutching your pearls moments of will they survive? Won't they survive? It has other worlds, really great effects. It just has all that good stuff.
I want to say one of my standouts for this because in the other ones wasn't a standout for me. Drax was great.
Mm-hmm.
Drax was one of my favorite parts in this movie. And I actually really liked how they handled the Peter and Gamora situation because at the end of the day, it's not his Gamora.
Right.
And I liked that it was addressed.
Mm-hmm.
But man, that line where it was like, we had fun, didn't we? And it's like, yeah, we did. I'm like, no.
What a mind fuck of a situation to be, to have the love of your life be in front of you, but it's not actually the love of your life.
I hit the mic. I feel like she probably could have fallen in love with him again, but they're not going to give her that chance. She's gone.
Yeah, she's gone, and she has another group of people that she's with.
She has her own family.
Yeah, she has her own family. She's not a guardian anymore. And it sucks and it's sad for us to see, but she's happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Peter is connecting to other people in his life that he hasn't been with in a long time.
His grandpa.
Yeah.
Which knew him immediately when he came in. That was sweet.
The question is, though, I mean, what happens to Star-Lord now?
There's been talks of like there might be a solo Star-Lord movie. I mean, in the comics, this isn't something new. The Guardians team has kind of rotated. You know, there's always been like one or two stationary members from the original that stay.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they go off and form their own team. So it's something that happens. And I like that they're expanding that team. As far as Star-Lord, it could be anything. Him exploring his lineage, you know, celestial stuff, whatever. You know, I don't know. I think it might be a little odd if it's just like an Earth-based him figuring out how the world is now.
I'm just an Avenger now, basically.
Yeah. I wouldn't. It's Chris Pratt, so I'm just like, I've seen it before. Just watch Parks and Rec. He acts the same way.
He now creates a band called Mousetrap.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's just Parks and Rec.
It's just Parks and Rec, but he only does covers of stuff from like the 80s and 90s. Everything that's on his cassette tapes, that's what he covers.
So also highly recommend. Everything on here we recommend because we chose these because we liked them.
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched it, which I think we're the only people that didn't watch it when it came out.
I couldn't believe how long we went without seeing it. That was crazy.
And it was a long movie.
It was. It was nice to be comfortable at home.
Yeah.
Watching it.
That's all anybody wants. It's nice to be comfortable at home. Yeah.
Right? And end of my thesis. That's life. It's just nice to be comfortable at home.
All right. Do you want to do this next one?
Let's move on. So we are taking David Bautista from Guardians, and we're now moving to knock.
Did you call him David Bautista?
Yeah, I have that written down.
I think it's Dave Bautista.
Is it Dave? I wonder if IMDb has it as David.
Nobody calls him that.
The list. That was weird,
Yeah.
right? It sounded wrong. How bizarre.
Nobody calls him that.
I'm sorry, everyone. It really threw us off.
But continue.
So
we're
Dave,
going from one depressing thing to another.
Yes. So we started at really happy comedy, then we went to a mix, and now we're just going into full on horror
Despair.
So we are going to Knock at the Cabin, which was directed by M. Night Shyamalan and is based on the novel The Cabin at the End of the World.
Yes.
So Noah and I both read this book.
Had completely different feelings about the book, by the way.
Yes, there were things in the book that I thought were unforgivable.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's spoiler if you haven't read the book, we're probably going to mention the book.
Yeah.
So like skip over this until the next one if you don't want to.
Very good point.
This movie, I was very cautious about this movie. One, because of the director, M. Night Shyamalan can be very hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he has stuff like The Village, but he also has stuff like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
No one should talk about that.
And The Happening. You know, so it's like,
I like The Happening.
Stop.
Marky Mark being
No.
like, the trees. What?
Exactly.
Exactly.
No.
Zoe Deschanel like, oh, the trees.
No. So you're like making
I like
me
how you don't mention The Sixth Sense or you don't mention Signs, which are like two of the strongest ones in his catalog.
Don't do Signs.
Signs is amazing.
I don't do Signs.
I know you don't like aliens.
No.
It's fine.
I love aliens. Not those aliens.
He's scared of aliens.
I can watch aliens, but not
and
Signs
you didn't
aliens.
and you didn't have a problem with oh, for Christ's sake. The Kiki Palmer. Nope.
Because there was no aliens in it.
Oh,
It was just the big
that thing sucked people up and ate them.
That was amazing. I love that movie so much. We covered that on our Patreon. Okay, but so Knock at the Cabin, it's, you know, two dads with their daughter Wen, 4 strangers come. It's a home invasion, but the entire movie takes place pretty much in the living room, and they have to make a choice to kill one of the 3 of them to save the world.
Right.
And if they don't do it, they have to kill each other, which will bring about a plague on the earth. And if by the end of that, they don't sacrifice one of themselves, the world ends.
Yes, these 4 people had visions. They don't know each other. They were brought together.
They found each other on the message board.
The internet, Reddit. I don't know if it was Reddit, but they knew exactly where to go. They had these visions. They knew what they had to wear. And they know that if Eric and Andrew and Wen don't decide to kill one of them, the 4 then have to kill themselves.
I just said that.
I know, but I was just giving a little more
I'm just
context.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
So they have this
Derek's, like, moving
desperation
on.
because they know that, one, they're going to have to start killing themselves. And two, once they all kill themselves, the world is going to end.
Yeah, I feel like M. Night Shyamalan really does a good job with his movies when he puts his characters in like very specific situations where it's not like super big. You know, if you think about the movies that he did that were massive, like the ones I mentioned before, they don't tend to do too well.
Mm.
But the ones where like, you know, Lady in the Water or The Village or anything like that, where it's like people in a specific setting, he does a
Mm.
very good job with those.
I
And
agree.
I feel like this one, he did a good job of making sure everybody got the right amount of time they needed for you to one get an attachment to them, but also question everybody in that room, except for Wen, because she's an angel.
My
And
gosh, she was just the most adorable little child. One of the other choices that he made that I really liked, I don't like hyper violence. So
eh,
I don't like Saw. I
right,
don't really love Scream and things like that. So in this, when those moments come when someone is going to basically be bludgeoned to death,
right.
it kind of happens just below the frame,
Meh.
right? So we see the weapon coming down, we hear it, but we don't see it connect. And I think it added to the what is going on
Right.
here. And I personally liked that decision.
Meh.
Was that not something?
No, I mean, I think it was fine. I think he did it well. Like, there's sometimes where they do it where they just cut to black or like they don't really do the sound or like, you know, so I think he did it correctly. I think the tone of it was right. My biggest problem with the movie, I liked it. I feel like if I didn't read the book, I would have liked it more. The book does, of course, a much better job of the, you know, who's right? Is this
Mm,
real? Is this not real? What is happening? I feel like in the movie, there was more hand holding
mm,
and like especially the end where, you know, the ones that survive are just like, yeah, the world's ending. But in the book, you don't know that. You still don't know that because it's more of extended and, you know, Wen does die, unfortunately, in the book. Yeah, I know. I know. It's very sad, but I think it added to the book and what it was trying to say. It was more ambiguous, is what
yes,
I
that's the
like
word
that.
for it.
And so we had a conversation of like, I think you believe it did happen, and I didn't believe it happened. I just thought that these people were just sharing some type of weird thing, but it wasn't actually true. But, you know, so I think that's the point.
Right.
Anybody can have their own ending.
I agree that the book definitely did a better job throughout the entire book of not knowing who's actually right.
Because he would be like, oh, well, that was filmed 4 hours ago. You could have easily known that this was going to come on because you've been checking the watch. And it's like moments like that where it's like, oh, yeah, I guess that is right.
Yeah.
So, like, this is pre recorded, it's not live.
And it's an interesting thing as far as the storytelling because we're introduced to our family first.
Right.
So we hold a place for them. And then when these people come, you're questioning whether this is right. So you want the family to escape.
Right.
But at the same time, you don't want the end of the world to happen.
Yeah.
So it's very confusing.
Would you make the choice or would you just let everybody die?
I think as the evidence grew, I think I would make the choice.
I wouldn't.
Right. I know you wouldn't.
I'd be like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah,
If it
I
ends,
mean,
it ends.
clearly in this, I am Eric and you are Andrew.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
100%.
that is just the end of it.
But see,
I'm
Eric.
going to be like, I saw a vision, a fairy whispered in my ear,
Nope.
you have to kill me.
Absolutely not. Nope. Nope. No.
It's the trolley problem.
I know, but see, like that in the book and the movie, they did kind of do a good job of making him seem like he was coming to their side. And I'm like, this fucking guy, this guy, like, oh, you're just gonna believe these people killing each other in front of you? Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I do. It's hard, right? I mean,
No, it's not.
I don't think immediately when they walk in and be like, this is happening, be like, all right,
Yeah.
time for me to die.
Yeah.
I do think, though, that as this movie went on, it did seem more feasible that they were telling the truth.
I think the movie, it does.
Yes.
The movie is like clear because you see planes falling out of the sky.
Right.
You do see all of that stuff that they're saying. In the book, you don't necessarily see all of it. It's more of like, this is happening.
Mm.
Is it? So, yeah. I do. I think the home invasion-y part was better in the book, but I think seeing these performances and them doing what they did in the movie, it was great. I think it's a great thriller. It's unique in itself. So I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. And I
Dave
mean,
Bautista, great.
just David Bautista, as I
No.
call him. Yeah, I agree. I think everyone did a really good job. It's a very small ensemble cast. I think they really, I mean, Rupert Grint is in it.
Not long.
Not long. R.I.P. First to die. Um, but I think that everybody really took their role and chewed the scenery and
Yeah.
lived in that. And I liked it. I really liked it. And plus, there's something to be said of, although it is violence within it, it is nice to see a horror movie where there are two gay dads as main characters.
Yeah, you see gay people sometimes, but you don't see two adult parents that are
Right.
gay.
Right.
I don't know of any other horror movie that does have gay parents. There probably is, but
And that
not that
are
I know.
just like, coming to a party, sort of thing. It's like, no, these are these people. They are on vacation. This is what they're doing.
Representation. Imagine.
It matters.
All right. Our next pick, we're getting close to the end here.
We're getting close to the end here.
Our next pick, I feel like, is something that it's weird we haven't talked about.
Ever.
I think we've mentioned it a little bit because why not? And we post about it quite a bit on social media. What We Do in the Shadows season 5, and just what we do in the shadows in general. Based off of the movie Taika Waititi, they made a show of that mockumentary vampire familiar situation and expanded on it. This show, it's 5 seasons in, which I think is insane. It's still just as funny. It's not funny like it used to be. I feel like in the first season, there was a little more like really big laugh out loud moments because you're getting used to those characters and seeing the situation. But still, they find a way to make it so funny. And I love these I love these vampires.
The vampires, they, as characters, as we've gone through these years with them, they themselves just keep getting more and more ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm here for that.
Yeah.
I want to see them become bigger and funnier and do more ridiculous things. And if you think about it, these vampires, I mean, have been around for hundreds of years.
Millennia.
And they still are just fools.
Yeah.
In our current world.
Yeah.
They still dress in their garb.
That is
they
funniest
can't let
thing.
it go.
It's so funny that they just still look like Victorian.
Yes.
It's like, why?
And I just think that this cast is so strong.
So good. So good. Who is your favorite vampire or character? Doesn't have to be a vampire.
Oof. I feel like as time has gone on, it's changed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think at the base of it, Nadja will always be my favorite.
Right.
But really, Nandor has had his moments. But I think that Laszlo in this season, especially, really shone.
He's my all-time favorite.
Really?
Laszlo is my all-time favorite. I love him because he's just so ridiculous. I feel like he's also a mystery most of the time, but I just love him. I love the way he says things.
Oh, yes.
New York City.
Well, I think that Matt Berry has been making a lot of really good choices.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. How he says things, how he just presents himself. I also love just within them the like sexual fluidity.
Oh.
It's kind of like when you've been alive for centuries, there is no gay, straight, bi, pan. You just are.
I also love with them how like into it both of them are. Like he'll say something like, yeah, me and Nandor like typically whack each other off, and Nadja's like, oh, I did that yesterday.
Exactly.
It's like, it's so funny. I mean, I love all of them. I think the only thing with this season, so season 5, one of the biggest things is Guillermo,
Gizmo,
or whatever you want to call him,
Guillermo,
got bit by Derek because we all know, this is Derek. We all know that he's been asking Nandor forever since he was like 13 to be turned into a vampire. He still didn't. Over that course of the time, we find out he has Van Helsing blood. Gets bit by Derek. This whole season is very Laszlo heavy because Laszlo and Guillermo are trying to figure out why he's stuck in this like vampire limbo. And it made for some great episodes. And one of my favorite episodes is the hybrids.
Yes.
This little like animal hybrids.
Daddy.
Yeah. The frog that looked just like Guillermo. It's so good. I did feel like the solution or the resolution with that when Nandor does finally find out that he let somebody else turn him into a vampire. Yeah. Was a little like it was dealt with very quickly.
It was dealt with very quickly. And it's interesting that what this whole series has been leading to, right, sort of happened at the end of last season.
Right.
And for Guillermo, I should say, for Guillermo's character. And now has been resolved and undone.
Yeah.
So now what's next for Guillermo?
I don't know. I think that's the interesting part. I do like that they gave him the choice of like, do you want to be a vampire or do you want to be a human? And I like that Nandor was the one to ask him that. And he's like, I want to be a human. So it's actually, where does it leave him? Because for so long he wanted to be a vampire. He became a vampire hunter before he became a vampire. And then he's like, you know what? I don't think I could kill people. I can kill vampires. I can't kill people.
It's in his blood.
It's in his blood.
Guillermo de la Cruz.
I do wish one thing I was missing from this one was a little bit more gay.
Gay is in. We're gay. Gay is hot. Gay is hot. There was the Pride Parade.
There was, and I loved that a lot. But like Guillermo was not involved in that at all.
He was just in the float at the end. Remember, he's like holding a sign that says "gay guy" or something.
That was great. Yeah. I did love that like credit scene where they're all like partying. Oh, so good. But I felt like in the last season we kind of got more of like
we had a romantic interest. We had him coming out to his family. Yeah, and now this season it was really nothing.
I'm not saying it needed to be a big focus, but it was like, oh, okay,
more gay.
Fine, gay is in.
Gay is in.
Gay is hot.
Laszlo says it. He told us. I also think this season we got a lot more of. It happened. We got a lot more of the guide. With Kristen Schaal.
I love her.
I love her too. And I'm really happy to see. So 30 Rock is one of my favorite shows. But unfortunately, when Kristen Schaal came in it was like they had jumped the shark. The character of Hazel was just awful. So it scares me when they bring her into a property a little late.
It's like, nope, the series is going to end.
Yeah, here we go. Oh no, we're going to have another 30 Rock. But they're doing such a great job with the guide.
Right.
And she is, I think she wormed her way into our hearts with Louise and Bob's Burgers. So now she's just a welcome addition.
Louise is one of my favorite characters in television history. So I automatically love her. I think in this one, she found a way to like make a character that we kind of know already more interesting, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like we've seen these kind of characters before, but I like that they just kind of just included her in like the main cast this season.
Right.
But this whole time she was just trying to be actually included and it just
she just wanted to be friends. Please just let me be your friend.
She created hexes. She kidnapped all of them. It's just insane. I love it.
I love it.
You know, so good.
So good. One of the other things that I loved about this season is that with the ending, with everything that happens with Guillermo, they actually all love Guillermo.
Oh, yeah.
None of them wanted anything to happen. Whereas in the beginning, he was like, they couldn't stand him. He was just their human familiar.
Yeah.
But now you can see what Nadja and Laszlo were trying to do for him to protect him. Guillermo was part of their crew. Vampire or not.
Surprising for Nadja.
Yeah.
I feel like, because she's very ruthless in a lot of things, but especially if it doesn't involve Laszlo, very surprising for her. I'm glad that she kept that secret as long as she did.
Yeah.
I'm glad we also have an adult Colin Robinson, because that baby Colin Robinson, aside from the harpy situation,
yes, that was hilarious.
That I'm just glad we have like an adult. I want more of the energy vampire stuff. We got a tiny taste of it this season. I want more.
So personally, I'm a big fan of Vanessa Bayer. So whenever she guest stars on this show as Evie, the other energy vampire, it's like, it's the exact character that she should be playing.
Yeah.
And it's so good to see her.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where this show goes. I'm curious on how much longer they're going to do it, because 5 seasons for a comedy like this is a feat.
Especially now. I feel like things are ending earlier and earlier. We're getting 3-4 seasons max.
Well, because the greedy ghouls don't give a shit.
Very true.
but whatever.
Whatevs.
There's
So,
5 seasons.
I mean, I'm thinking we're definitely getting a season 6, and I'm looking forward to it already.
Me too. All right, next one. This is an Apple TV.
Apple Plus.
Yeah, is that Apple Plus? Is that what it's called?
Apple Plus TV.
Apple Subscription Plus TV. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this one I feel like is one of the breakout comedies of this year. And I didn't see a lot of people talking about it, which does kind of make me a little sad, especially
Agreed.
with the cast. Yeah. So this is Platonic, and this came out in May of this year. It stars Rose Byrne and Seth Rogen. I mean, I just do I need to say anymore?
They have such chemistry together. They are just hilarious. This was one of those things. It came out weekly that I was every week going, there's a new Platonic.
Yep.
Like I couldn't wait to watch it again.
And we were both excited for it.
Sorry.
That was the most dramatic sneeze.
I felt it tickling in my nose. I don't think I've ever sneezed on the podcast before.
There's a first time for everything.
Holy smokes. That took over my brain. There's so much that goes through my mind when when a bodily thing happens on the podcast where I'm like, do we cut? Do I run away? Do I go under the desk? So I don't know.
Oh, go under the desk next time.
I'm gonna hit my head on the way back up.
But this, back to the show.
Sorry.
This one was so good because not only did it, go away from the cliches of there can't be a platonic relationship between a male and a female or friends or anything like that. And it does. This is literally a show about two friends. And one of the things throughout the series is like, are they actually friends? But then it cuts to them being absolutely ridiculous, kicking over, rental scooters. And it's like, yeah, they're just friends.
They're just friends.
Ugh.
One of the interesting things about this that I like so much is that when we have sitcoms, a lot of times, like when the original run of Will and Grace, it's about these friends. We see them as friends. And as the series goes on, we sort of see a fallout between them.
Right.
And that's how the original series sort of ends. There's a fallout. They really don't talk for years. They come back together.
Good.
Good.
Grace is the worst.
Grace, in rewatching it, Grace is like the worst from episode 2.
1.
Yeah, it's that character was bizarre. Whereas what this does is that the fallout has happened already.
Right.
They've already been estranged for years. So now it's about them reconnecting, even though they're kind of in different places in their lives.
Literally.
Where Sylvia she doesn't work anymore. She's been a stay-at-home mom. She used to be a lawyer. And Will is this brewmaster, and he's like young and funky, and he's a hipster. Yeah. He has some of the I wanted to dress like Will.
Oh, so good. The style is fantastic.
The style is fantastic. The use of necklaces, the hats.
That's just how Seth Rogen dresses, though. Like, that's
Seth Rogen.
He just came to set.
What Seth Rogen in real life does all day is he smokes weed,
right,
and he does pottery.
Right.
And then he produces shows and things like that.
I feel like Rose Byrne is the type of person that like drinks rosé whenever she wants.
Rosé Byrne.
Rosé Byrne. That's the brand.
She should really have that brand.
It has her face on it. It's just but hosts probably the best lunches, dinners, whatever. Like her comedic timing is one of the best, and physical comedy. She's so good. It's like watching Bridesmaids, but it's all her.
Exactly.
It's so good.
And I think going into this, you think like Seth Rogen's going to steal the scene. He's going to be hilarious. Actually, he kind of plays the straight man, and she is the comedy.
It's so good.
Oh my gosh.
There's a scene where they go to Johnny Rocket. Right? Is that the
Johnny Rockets is the real thing. This is like some
whatever
this
the
is some other
equivalent.
made up chain restaurant.
So they go to that and they get a bunch of the memorabilia and like the hats and the jackets and stuff like that. And they're just riding down the street in the scooters, and just seeing Rose Byrne in this oversized hat be a complete badass, but also look ridiculous. It's one of those shows, just watch it. Mm-hmm. It's very short. I hope they get a second season.
I would really love a second season.
It's a lot of fun, and it does get poignant at times when it needs to, but it's one of those awkward, what are relationships and friendships at some point. The last episode is very emotional, but like in a I relate to that type of situation, and also very funny.
Very funny. I also wanted, speaking of very funny, the supporting cast in this is also fantastic.
Very good.
We have Luke McFarlane, who plays Charlie, Sylvia's husband in this, and he's dealing with what does their relationship mean. The most awkward, humping.
One of the funniest scenes I've seen in like a comedy like this, and like he gets drunk and his coworkers there, they're both very drunk, they're doing whatever, and like this is at the point where like he's kind of jealous of Will being back in Sylvia's life, and so like his idea is to like get drunk late at work with his coworkers, but when the other coworker leaves and it's just I can't remember her name, but she's there with him, they're like dancing together, and then they like dry hump.
It's so weird.
And it's the most awkward thing, but he has so much guilt.
Oh my
And so
gosh.
when he finally tells Sylvia about it, and she's like, "What? You dry humped? Like what?" She's doesn't even understand the situation.
I wish I could remember the song that they were dancing to. It was like, it was so awkward. That whole scene was just hilarious. I also, Carla Gallo, who plays her friend Katie. I mean, this is another breakout star.
It's like School Moms. Oh, I love it.
She is so funny because she's incredibly raunchy. Her delivery is perfect. Another just fantastic scene partner for Rose Byrne.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good comedy to watch when, you this weekend.
Yeah.
Just watch it.
Binge it.
Binge it. And it's very quick. It's so funny. Do it.
Highly recommend.
Make it get a second season.
Please. Because they left it open where there could be a second season.
Right.
Ugh, we have to wait.
All right.
We have another Apple one.
We have 3 more. 3 more.
Okay. We could do this.
I feel like our personal picks might be a little quick.
But quick. Make it snappy. Yeah. Make it snappy.
So this one we kind of added because one we forgot. It came out this year.
It came out in March.
It came out in March. Right, this year.
Earlier this year.
Yeah.
I'm just saying why we forgot about it is because it was from so long ago.
Yeah, but we included stuff from February.
But we watched that recently. We watched this in real time.
So the last season of Ted Lasso. I mean, what can we say about Ted Lasso that hasn't already been said? That I think we've briefly talked about Ted Lasso in the podcast before. A long time ago.
A long time ago, yeah. I think, was it a Patreon episode?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Great. I mean, this series, I feel like, is one of those that I'm glad it ended when it did, but I wish there was more because the cast and characters, you just love them so much. There has been talks about potential like spin-off series. Like it's not going to be about Ted Lasso because of where it left off. I would love for there to be spin-off series for everybody else that's still in England.
Well, what Ted Lasso, the show did so well was that the first season really did feel about that it was about Ted and his journey. But as it has gone on, the worlds of the supporting characters got bigger and bigger. And for us, a lot of the time, I was actually looking forward to seeing what was going to happen with Roy and Keeley or, what Sam's restaurant, these characters were having lives of their own.
Right.
And so you became very invested in them. So I do think that if Ted isn't there, while he was the heart of the show,
it was his show.
If he wasn't there, we still have the emotional connection to these characters because we've seen what they've been through over the years.
Yeah. One of my standout episodes from this season, the finale season, was the sunflower episode. With Rebecca and the guy in the boat.
Amsterdam.
It was beautiful. Like holy shit. Like it's one of those episodes you didn't expect to happen.
Yeah.
And it happens and it ends and you're like, oh, that was so well written. The acting was amazing. And it's just one of those episodes where you just keep thinking about it because so much happens in it, but like it's so quiet and it like sneaks up on you. And that's, I think, what this show did so well. It's funny and it's amazing and these characters are great, but it deals with such important and hard issues that everybody goes through. And I like the message. It's like you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of others and just be kind.
Mm.
But just I can't. I wish it didn't end, but I'm glad it did because how much more can it still have that magic?
And one of the interesting things that it did was it didn't have to end with everyone pairing up and
Right.
everyone finding the love of their life, because it wasn't necessarily about that.
Right.
It was, what does it mean to be a human trying to exist in the world as
No
your
idea.
most authentic self?
Right.
And it takes everybody on their own journey.
Yeah.
You know, and looking at Jamie Tart, from where he started to where he ended up,
Even Ned.
he can, well, please, that was a whole thing.
Little turd.
The biggest traitor there ever was in Ted Lasso history.
I mean, but the makeups are worth it.
Yeah.
You know, it's so sweet. Jamie, fantastic character arc. I actually really loved the friendship that grew between Roy and Jamie. It's just really sweet. I'll never forget the image of him teaching him how to ride a bike.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fantastic. And that show can do that type of thing. It can do that ridiculous thing, or like you tell somebody about it, and it's like, oh, that kind of sounds boring. It's not.
No.
And it's amazing. You care so deeply about these characters, and that's the mark of a good show. Yeah. So bye, Ted.
Bye, Ted. Hope to see some of you all soon. At some point.
Yeah, writer strike. They ain't doing nothing.
That's true.
No way.
Fingers crossed.
All right, final 2 picks. Told you we were going through these kind of quick, but these are just things we missed and we have to talk about because we can say we talked about it. No.
Yeah, we did it. We watch other things other than Marvel and, Apple movies.
Ghosted. Is
Ghosted. Exactly.
Okay. So you do your personal pick first.
Oh, he said you go first. Okay. So my personal
I just
pick
want to sip of my coffee.
is another Apple plus TV, whatever it is. This is Shrinking. So actually, this is a good connection because Brett Goldstein, who plays Roy, is one of the creators and writers of Shrinking.
So good.
That's how talented this person is.
Right.
I can't.
He's also Hercules in the Marvel movies. So yeah.
Where is that character right now?
I don't know. Don't bring it up.
No one knows. No one knows. So this is starring Jason Segel. He plays Jimmy. He is a therapist who, when we first see him, is completely, his life is in ruins. His wife died not too long ago. He has a young teenage daughter. And what he has done to deal with this death is basically binge drink and do drugs every night. So what this is his journey of healing and how he works with his patients and how the people around him kind of deal with his life and how they deal with their own stuff.
Woof.
But it's a stellar cast. So I think Jason Segel got nominated for an Emmy. Jessica Williams, who plays one of his coworkers, Gabby, got nominated. I mean, it's so good. Hello. I mean, also, Harrison Ford is in this.
I was like, why aren't you mentioning Harrison Ford?
Harrison Ford is in this, people. And he is so funny. Everybody is so talented. The actors that plays his daughter, Alice, is incredibly talented. It's just a really great cast. It mixes funny with emotional.
I feel like that's kind of the shtick that we like on our lists. It's like it has to be funny, but it also has to have heart.
We need depth.
Yeah.
We need depth. It ends in a cliffhanger that just has you just going, what just happened? And it's going to cause so much trouble for Jimmy going forward.
I haven't watched it, surprisingly. I think I was doing something at the time, and Derek was like, I'm just going to watch this. And I remember when you watched the last episode, I think I was in this room and you were in the living room and you were just freaking out. And I was like, what? Because I thought you were watching And Just Like That. And I'm like, there's no way he's freaking out.
Oh, that is not on my list.
Yeah. The people are mad.
Okay. Don't get me started.
But so I'm excited to watch it. I do want to watch it, but
it's so much about grief and healing, but they do it so well and add so much comedy. I mean, Michael Urie is in this as well. He's perfect. Everyone. Krista Miller plays their next door neighbor, Liz, who Krista Miller has this way. I mean, she was in the Drew Carey Show. She was in Cougar Town. She has this way of playing a character that's so bitchy, but you love them. And there's also a character named Derek in it. So everyone has to watch Shrinking.
Well, are they a good character?
You think you're going to hate them in the beginning, but he actually turns out to be really great.
Oh, surprising.
I know. Derek's are never really well done.
They're usually...
Yeah. Derek in What We Do in the Shadows was pretty funny. He wasn't that bad.
Yeah, but he was bad at what he was doing.
That's true. He wasn't a very good vampire.
Now he's a zombie, so.
True.
All right.
Benedict Wong also made an appearance in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, he did. Okay, so my personal pick is Good Omens Season 2. I had thought about doing The Witcher. I haven't finished it.
The Witcher.
Because when I know somebody like Henry Cavill is not going to be done anymore and it's going to kind of end, it's hard for me to continue watching it. You know, it's like it took me so long to watch Sense8 finish it when I knew it was ending. I was like, what's the point? I don't get any more.
Noah says, I cannot take the emotional trauma of saying goodbye to these people, so I'm just stopping.
Yeah, but I will eventually watch it. But Good Omens. I mean, the amazing book by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. It's one of my favorite books. It's a singular story. For decades, people have been wanting a sequel. What is going to happen? They're like, no, we probably can't recreate what we did the last time. But then there was talks, and then there was talks about a movie and all this stuff. And then unfortunately, Terry Pratchett did die in 2015. But before that, Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett had been talking about potentially a sequel, like what would happen. And we got it. We got it with season 2 of Good Omens. Now, I will say they're very different. Like, you can tell it's a little different. Neil Gaiman wrote all the episodes for the first season. It's very much the book. It has trying to stop the Antichrist from bringing about the end of the world. What happens with that? This one is a lot smaller, and it's more, it takes place in the street with Aziraphale's bookshop. Everybody's back. Some of the characters, the actors changed out. But it's very much about them, Aziraphale and Crowley, and what their relationship is and what goes on with that. But it's just perfect. Like, it's one of those shows where the actors themselves, you have these people that are such good friends in real life, and then they play characters who are such good friends in the show, and it shows through that. David Tennant and Michael Sheen are some of the greatest people to be together on the screen. If you watch the show Staged, it came out during the pandemic. It's just like watching Aziraphale and Crowley, but not in makeup and red hair and white hair. But I think that if you're a fan of the books and you haven't watched it, you should watch it, because this one I would equate to, let's say, Our Flag Means Death, where it's like, are they a thing? Like, do they like each other? It's like a whole season, and then the second season, and then the last episode of this season for them to realize.
Wow, they're really dragging it out.
But it's one of those things where it's like it parallels almost funny enough to Our Flag Means Death. It's like these people that have such a big connection, and then it's like, oh, the connection goes further than just friendship. You know, the show is just good. It's one of those things where, like, it's hard to describe like how much I like it, and it's so ridiculous. It's actually absolutely batshit crazy, but I just love them and I love the characters, and so
it's their chemistry. You cannot beat that chemistry.
And it's David Tennant. Like, what do you like? If you've been like, I don't know if I want to watch it, just freaking watch it. It's good and gay.
Good and gay. That's what we've been saying the whole episode.
Yeah, I will say, like, no matter how much I do like it, I do know that there's some like interesting things that happen. This season, it did feel like they added things just to like make stuff happen, which I was like, okay, but it was all fine because those two were on the screen, and we also got two amazing new characters, Maggie and Nina. Fantastic. There was like kind of like a will they won't they in that situation, but I loved in the end that they were like, stop messing with our lives, and you guys need to realize that you guys love each other. So go talk about that.
It's all about love.
It's very gay and very like talking about the hypocrisy and the ridiculousness of the Bible, and it's just all the things I love.
It sure is. That's Noah wrapped up in a bow.
Yeah.
Love it.
So good.
That is our so far what we've missed in 2023.
Yeah.
I would love to hear what you all think about these things. Comment below.
Yeah.
We've been posting on the YouTube.
Yeah.
You can actually comment below now.
Yeah. Let us know what your standouts were.
Yeah.
I think our personal picks were kind of like our standouts for the year. And obviously we're not doing a whole episode on them and we can't dive super deep into them. But, you know our picks. I want to know yours.
I agree.
I mean,
So get to it.
yeah.
What are you doing?
So we have some stuff brewing planned.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. The writer's strike it's happening. And so things are getting postponed, and things that we had planned
Yeah.
to maybe cover are not going to be at this time anymore. So we're shaking it up.
We're shaking it up.
Shaking it up.
We have some plans, but a lot of the October, November are stacked if some of the stuff still stays what it is. Yeah, I mean, just look out for that stuff.
It's always get creepy.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's right. We're doing.
I don't even know if they saw that.
We're doing the collected works of Edgar Allan Poe, The Raven, The Telltale Heart.
No, let's see. Let's do. Let me see which one we're gonna do. Let's do The Black Cat.
I don't know about it. I'm excited to jump in.
No, I mean, if you know what this book is, it's very obvious what we're going to be gearing up for. We're going to go back to our roots. If you listen to our Bly Manor.
Spooky season is upon us.
Yeah, or any of the other Mike Flanagan works. You know what we're going to do.
We love the Flaniverse.
Yeah.
We can't get enough.
It's the last one.
Oh, rip.
Yeah, this is his last
Well,
collab.
it's a Netflix thing, right?
Yeah. But then he's going on to do Stephen King stuff.
Well,
on Prime.
All right. He's jumping over. That's just Noah's
I
worlds
mean,
are colliding in the best way possible.
I love him. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.